the Inclusive Playgrounds, as well as was awarded the Woman Entrepreneur of the Year in 2017. We're very honored to have you join us today. Over to you, Esther.
Thank you so much for the quick introduction. And before I jump into my presentation, just one quick remarks, what you said about play. So we are talking a lot about that how play can help to having a joyful life of children, what play means in the life of these children. But let's think about those children who are not able to play for several reasons. And I'm not talking about because they don't have anything to play with, but that they are not able to play with. So I'm going to focus on my presentation for those kids who are not able to play because of several reasons. Can you share the presentation? Okay. So learning through play, as you will see in my presentation, it matters for everyone. And we need to focus on those children who are not able to play for several reasons. Next slide, please. So he's my son, Aaron. I use the word that he is a non-A4 child, or I would say that he was born with epilepsy. He's a little boy with invisible disabilities, with learning disabilities. This is what you can read on the researches or on studies that these I call them non-A4 because it's much nicer than learning disabilities and invisible disabilities. What does this mean in everyday life? Now, let's stop that he's clumsy and that he has got attention deficit. He cannot join to the others' play activity. He has issues with language perception and language comprehension. Now, let's stop for a minute. Can you think about anyone in your family, in your neighborhood, in your friends, or in your class who is making you trouble, who sometimes you think about it, what can be the problem? That he doesn't give appropriate answer, that he or she is not able to play as the others. Can you recognize anyone who you ever worked with and you had the problem that you didn't find the best way to motivate, the best way to involve his or her into the fun or into the common activity? Next slide, please. So what is learning disabilities? I find a number that in India, children with learning disabilities is approximately between 5 and 15%. But it's very hard to say an exact number because these children have no diagnosis. According to the statistic, and this is not an Indian statistic, but it's a worldwide statistic, in every group of children, at least 40–50% of those children who has got invisible disabilities or who are non-A4, who has got invisible disabilities and learning disabilities. Who do we call learning disabilities? Children who has got organic problems, like my son who was born with epilepsy, children who are traumatized, children who are coming from a very poor environment. Bad nutrition also affects learning disabilities or invisible disabilities. Children who has got mental issues, also autism in some way, they also have invisible disabilities. Children who has got ADHD. So these are the big circle what we are talking about. Probably as teacher, you know very well that development is a law. A child does what he is able to do, and he doesn't do what he doesn't able to do. Now we need to focus on those abilities, what he's not able to do. And when we are talking about delayed development or developmental delay, where there is a gap that he or she should do at her age, his age, certain things, certain abilities, but he or she is not able to do so. So there is a gap between the adequate age abilities and what he or she is able to do. Next slide, please. So who are these children? What am I talking to? What am I talking to? I mean, as I said, they are clumsy. I mean, they cannot walk on stairs. They spills the water. You tell them that hold the glass in a different way. And he says that, yeah, I don't want to spill it, but still it's spilled out. They are oversensitive, don't like if their hands are dirty. Their behavior seems aggressive. And let me emphasize, they are not aggressive, but it seems that they are aggressive because they are frustrated. They can't play with their praise. They don't understand the speech. Let me tell you an example. If you tell to a child that raise your hand, and what can you see? He's not raising his hands, but he's making fun of the others. You can say that, okay, he doesn't want to raise his hands, or you can observe that maybe he's not able to raise his hands because his muscle doesn't allow him to raise his hands, or he doesn't understand what you are telling to him. Or when you tell your child, cross your arms like this, and he's not able to do so. It's because probably he doesn't understand what you are saying, or he has got problem with the body shape. He doesn't know where the crossings are. So this is the symptoms you can see, or this is what you can observe. And why play is important? Because you can see everything during play, how he or she is playing with others or not able to play with others. Next slide, please. So why is it a problem if we overlook these challenges, if we overlook these children? What can we experience if we overlook them? I mean, these children are the troublemaker within a group. They will be isolated, excluded from the fun, and what is the very most important, that they won't have successful school years. If we start to look at these childs at the very early age, from 0 to 6, then we can help solve their challenges. Not everything, but at least we can support them weak abilities. If we are overlook these children, I mean, as you can see on the slide, at the end of the day, they will lack of education means poverty, and we cannot help them. And there is a statistic that those children who were not able to participate in proper early childhood intervention care, they are falling out from the school system at 11 years old. So can you imagine that what can a child do when he or she is only 11 years old? And your responsibility, I mean, teacher's responsibility is huge, because you are the one who are with the children, and you are the one who can observe, who can see what the problem is, and you are the one that you can help, you can support them develop their weak abilities. And I will tell you how. Next slide, please. So according to recent neuropsychological studies has shown that early life, like from 0 to 6, that's the most crucial years of a child life, because up until 6 years, you can develop the brain. You can have the the brain, it works as a stem, so you can have traces on the brain, and it can develop. After 6 years old, it is very difficult to develop a child. We don't say that after six years, I mean, if a child is 7, you don't need to focus that given child. We don't say that, but that it requires a completely different strategies. It requires a completely different cooperation with the child. But the early years are very crucial for this child. This is the most dynamic period of a child brains. And you can, as I said, at this age, an imprint can still occur in the areas of the developing brain when the needs to happen. And it's very important that you need, the sooner we realize that there is a kind of a delay, the child has the sooner, we might be able to help and support them in the areas where needed. Early recognition is very important. And your role as a teacher to understand the roots of that given problem is crucial. In such an early area, your support is close to developmental scissors. We are not saying that you need to become a special education teacher, but we are saying that you need to provide or give the best support for that given child. And don't forget that in every classroom settings, you play games which helps, you can play games which helps the development of these children. For example, if you see that at the 4 years old child is using very, very few verbs like drink, sit, stand, something like that, then you need to be suspicious that something is not okay with his play. So what we are saying, if that there is a weak ability like speech, then you need to focus on other things. And you can observe so many things by he or she is playing. If you see that the child is playing alone, you cannot say that, oh, okay, he or she is playing alone. That's fine. I don't need to do anything with her because she's okay. No. And then someone is going there because someone wants to join her game and she pushes the other child away. You need to be suspicious that something is not okay with her speech perceptions, because probably she doesn't understand what the other students, what the other child wants to her. She doesn't know how to react. She doesn't know what to say. Or for example, if you see that there is a child who is not able to ask help, or she or he does everything herself, it's a sign as well. Then probably there is something problem with her social and communication abilities. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So what do we do at Nesting Play? We have a methodology which shows you in 5 key areas. It guides you through that. How can you observe these children? How can you monitor these children? The one is play, which is, as I said, it's crucial. The other one is gross and fine motors, and then language comprehension and perception, social and communication, and perception and sensory integration. What we teach to teachers is that you need to observe the child in a very complex way. That, as I said earlier, everything is connected with everything. If you see, as I said, that if you, for example, if you see that a child is sitting in a circle and she or he is not able to hold his body, that he is not something, you know, a naughty boy, but probably he has got problem with his body shame. And why is it important? Because if a child doesn't have if a child doesn't know what is before and after, then this child will have problem with language perception. He or she won't be, he or she will have problem with literacy at school. If a child have problem with the quantity, then probably he or she will have problem with numeracy at school. And we are talking so much about the importance of literacy and numeracy, but we always forget that there are symptoms what you can support in a very early age, which helps the development of literacy and numeracy abilities. Next slide, please. So therefore, we developed an application. This is a web-based application, what you can use online and offline, because we were preparing this application for underserved communities as well. And we actually digitalized our methodology. We are guiding you through a monitoring system, that what you can see and how you can observe the child. Maybe at the first time you can feel that, oh, it is so overwhelming. What can I do? I have 30 more children. How can I observe these children? But you are monitoring these children anyhow, since this is your most important task as a teacher. So the app is just only helping you to see these children in a different way, to see the complexity between the different abilities. So you shouldn't be scared and shouldn't be saying that, oh, this is overwhelming, I cannot do this, because it is so complicated. Actually, it's just a few minutes to observe this child. However, we are saying it that you should observe children for a longer period, because, you know, they are playing in different circumstances, they are playing with different objects, and you can observe these children for 1 or 2 weeks to see the complexity of the weakening abilities. And how can you develop these children? I mean, also in the app, you can find games, what you can play with a group of children, because what we are saying is that you need to need to support these children within the classroom. The app helps you to support these children, and the app is offering you games what you can develop the children. If, for example, the child has got problem with creative speech, not able to tell a story, then you can choose from the wide selection of our games something what is developing the creative speech of that given child, and what is good for her, it's also good for the whole group. So it's not something that you are pointing out to these children that, okay, he or she is the troublemaker, he or she is the trouble one, but it's also fun for everybody. So let me tell you an example. Let's say that there is a child, as I said, who is not able to tell a story, who has got problem with language comprehension. Then you say that, okay, let's use a whole as let's use a huge paper, and let's say that the butterfly is flying over the city. So what the butterfly can see from the top of the sky, and then you start to draw that, okay, there is a building, there is a car, there is a bus, there is a mother, there is whatever. And each child need to say 2 sentences about what the butterfly is seeing. You see, it's so easy. So it can develop those children who has got problem with creative speech, and it's also fun for the whole group. Um, okay, more information. Next slide, please. So more information you can find in our website, and I also happy to share more experiences with you through email, or yeah, you can reach me through email or through the website. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther, for educating us about invisible disabilities and highlighting the need of early diagnosis and how it's important that we as stakeholders, teachers, parents, modify and tailor the process of learning through play so that no child is left out. Thank you so much. A quick reminder to all our speakers. I request all